The David White Show.
BBC Radio Cornwall.
Delighted to welcome back to the show this afternoon somebody who, we spoke to a long time ago, actually. It's Heather Maîr, who's a singing teacher, wellness coach, and I'm sure you can tell me a bit more. But Heather, it seems that ages ago, it's Fame Academy, wasn't it? Celebrity Fame Academy?
Yeah, the Comic Relief Celebrity Fame Academy. My name is funny because my middle name is Welsh and it's actually pronounced Maîr, but it rhymes with choir, which is always quite good to be able to remind people of who I am. But years ago we spoke, I think it was Radio 2 or something. I came in and they patched through to you and it was lovely.
That's right, yeah. So you're actually bringing your singing experience to Cornwall this weekend, aren't you?
Yeah. Basically, I mean, I'm from Newlyn, sort of Camborne via Newlyn via Truro, and I live in London most of the time now, and I am, what I call a holistic singing coach, because I was a professional singer, but I work with people who've got sort of issues around their voice, people who were told they couldn't sing when they were kids and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I sort of work with a lot of adults who've got, baggage around singing, and we try and cheer them up a bit, teach them a bit of technique, and I do these things called sing therapy workshops. Doing it in Mousehole, yeah.
How does that work? Sing therapy?
Well, it's just a name, really, because everybody says to me, or lots of people say to me, my singing lesson feels like therapy, because people come in and they talk about themselves and they talk about how they feel about singing or what happened to them when they were kids or whatever with their voice. And we work through that as well as looking at singing technique, and I do lots of relaxation stuff as well. So I trained as a life coach and a hypnotherapist as well, so I kind of blend it all together.
So the most common thing that gets said to you, I'm sure, certainly by newbies, right, is going to be either I can't hold a tune or I can't sing a note, surely.
Yeah, or usually...
How do you deal with that?
Well, usually we find out why they think that's true, because quite often people carry little things that they believe to be truths that they picked up as a child because somebody said that. When you're a kid, you listen to what your grown-ups tell you and you tend to believe them. And quite often, there are an awful lot of people who were told at school, they were going for a choir audition or something was happening and the teacher said, oh, no, you can't sing, you go and sit over there. And so they've sat over there for the rest of their lives because they might have had a cold or they didn't know what was expected. And, a lot of people sort of come into this world knowing how to carry a tune without having to think about it. But there are also people who come to this world knowing how to play tennis without thinking about it. And then others of us need to have a few lessons and find out how it works.
Yeah.
So it's
this is exactly what I was thinking. If you're going to start a new sport, you're not going to turn up and be world beating from your first lesson, are you? You're going to need to know the basics, surely.
Absolutely. And yet with singing, somehow there's this kind of shame that people carry if they don't think they can do it, but if they don't know how to do it, they haven't really got a chance. So more often than not, I would say 99 times out of 100, when people find out how they experience their voice, because we all experience it in different ways. Some people feel it, some people hear it, some people feel it in their bodies, some people have a different kind of intellectual sense of what's going on. But if you never really do any investigation into what your actual voice feels like, or you sense it, it's really difficult to know how to change that. And I think that's kind of what I built up doing over the years, sort of by accident, but it's what I do. So,
do you think we all, and this is from somebody who speaks for a living, do you think we all experience our voice in a different way? Because when I hear things back that I've said, I think, I don't sound like that, surely, do I? Even now, 34 years later.
Yeah. And imagine what it's like for people who don't hear themselves back every day. Most people don't hear themselves back. And if they do, it's a bit of a shock. And quite often they don't have the state-of-the-art equipment to hear themselves back that you've got. So, our voice, our relationship with our voice is really important, because for a lot of people, it kind of defines their relationship with themselves, if you know what I mean, who they think they are, how much confidence they've got going into the world. But, we, especially people in Cornwall with Cornish accents, there's a lot of music going on in speech. People are much more musical. They're more likely to go, all right, and you've got you've got that tune. Whereas in a lot of accents, they go, hello. And it would be sort of more on a monotone. And so, you look at the music in the actual speech and you can kind of start from there.
It's quite interesting because I hear American accents quite a lot, not only on the show, but also on TV, obviously. And some of them are very sing-songy, aren't they? Do you know what I mean by that? They go up at the end and then they go down and they go up at the end again. It's like, whoa, it's like, all right, there's peaks and troughs in these American accents. They make me laugh sometimes.
Yeah. And a lot of the American accents come from the Cornish accent. I mean, originally as well, because I can remember as a kid listening to my aunties and my granny and everybody down in Newlyn speaking. And it was when I was sort of learning to play the recorder. So I was about 6 or 7, learning to read music. I can remember listening to them talking and thinking to myself, how do you write that in music? How do you get the fact that they've gone, yeah, they've done all these things up and down in their accents and dialects. I think, gosh, that is music. And same American accents, Irish accents, Italians, so many beautiful ways of speaking.
Your whole family's been in music, though, pretty much all its life, hasn't it? Because wasn't your granddad was a huge musician in Newlyn back in the day?
He was a huge musician. Yeah, I mean he was called Norris Williams, and he was he was lots of things actually. He used to be the musical director of the Newlyn Mervoys Choir.
Yeah,
and he also had a dance band during the war, and he directed, I think, the Penzance Orchestral Society and the musical theatre and all those things. So life was very much about music growing up with him, and all the aunties and uncles went on. My cousin's now in Newlyn. Rick is he has a musical group called Boiler House, the sort of male a cappella group, and another one called Bagastego. So various things going on still.
Yeah. What do you think of music these days? Because auto-tune comes in a lot, Heather, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of assistance given to people these days, but also that doesn't mean there aren't a lot of people who could do it without. I think it's just for ease of kind of mastering recordings and getting everything to sound very cut and paste. Because quite often in different genres of music, the voice isn't necessarily considered a sort of artistic, creative, physical thing. It's another instrument that they put in the in the digital audio thing, workstation. So it all gets a bit sanitized, and I think a lot of people kind of rely on autotune. But there are an awful lot of really, really talented people that you don't necessarily hear their talent until you go and see them perform live.
Yeah, I think that's I understand. I kind of get why they do autotune stuff, and they compress the hell out of it these days, don't they, to make it as loud as possible. But it make the artist sound the same on every single track. That's the only problem, isn't it? And you're right. When you then go and experience them live, it opens up a whole new show. Yeah,
it does. And I think the thing is, it's for convenience. It's, there's a lot of things that we consume these days in terms of our entertainment. That's very kind of quick and easy and seamless. And so you need to be able to click through this and scroll through that. And you don't necessarily want to, or they don't think that what you need as a consumer is something that's going to make you stop and think, how was that? How beautiful was that? But I mean, there's music and it's always evolving. People are always changing. There's always something more and new and creative coming through.
So this weekend, you want people to book in advance, really, don't you?
They have to, really, because it's kind of limited amount of people. And actually, I've got a lot of people booked up who know me already, like friends from the past are all coming along, which is a bit scary because, they know me as me, and now I've got to be me as my working me as well.
Yeah.
So, basically, if people can go to the website, it's, in fact, the easiest one to go to is heathervoice.com.
Okay.
And then /Cornwall if you want the workshop. Or you could just go to singtherapy.com and that would find me as well.
All right.
So fantastic. I have many domain names.
Yeah, great. Well, have a safe journey down.
Thank you.
And I hope it all goes well this weekend. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Lovely to talk to you. Lovely to see your face at last.